You ever hear of a guy who ghosted the Ottoman Empire and got away with it? This is the story of Skanderbeg, Albania's most iconic rebel, warlord, and overall legend. He fought empires, united tribes, and somehow still had amazing hair in every painting. Let's rewind. Well, the year is 1405. Gjergj Kastrioti is born into a noble Albanian family. Rich, powerful, feudal vibes. But then the Ottoman Empire rolls in like, nice land you got there, we'll take the kid. They grab little Gjergj, rename him Skanderbeg, basically Lord Alexander, convert him, and train him to be a top-tier Ottoman soldier. Plot twist, he's good at it. Like, really good. Dude was basically the Ottoman John Wick. Deep down, he never forgot where he came from. Albania was still in his blood. Fast forward to 1443, there's a big messy battle in Niš. The Ottomans are losing, everyone's panicking, and Skanderbeg's like, yep, I'm out. He fakes a letter from the Sultan saying, give this man full control of Gjergj. Walks in, shows the fake letter, and they let him take over. This man scammed an empire with medieval Photoshop. He tears down the Ottoman flag, raises the double-headed eagle, and basically declares, Albania's mine again, let's fight. Now he's leading a full-blown rebellion. He unites the local princes, no easy feat because Albanians arguing is like a sport, and creates the League of Gjergj. Basically a meeting in Gjergj together, they fight off the Ottomans for 25 years. 25 years. And Skanderbeg kept winning. Even Mehmed II, the dude who conquered Constantinople, tried to crush him. Didn't work. How? Skanderbeg fought smart. Guerrilla warfare, mountain ambushes, fortresses that wouldn't fall. Imagine fighting thousands of soldiers with like 100 cousins and a goat and winning. Europe starts noticing. The Pope's like, champion of Christ, defender of the faith. Skanderbeg's like, cool, thanks. Now send money. Every village knew his name. Every mother probably told her kid, why can't you be more like Skanderbeg? Sadly, in 1468, Skanderbeg dies. Not in battle, not from betrayal, but from malaria. Even legends get tired. After his death, the resistance slowly faded. The Ottomans returned, but something had changed. Skanderbeg had done more than fight. He gave Albanians a sense of identity, of unity, of pride, something no empire could take. Today, he's on statues, school books, currency, well, even beer bottles. And let's be honest, if you ask any Albanian about Skanderbeg, they'll probably say he didn't fight for power, he fought for us. Ask any Albanian today, north, south, diaspora, and they'll tell you, Skanderbeg isn't just history, he's identity. He stood for the exact things Albanians still care about: freedom, loyalty, defiance, family, nation. He was proof that even a small group of people can punch way above their weight as long as they're willing to fight for what's theirs. He made Albanians feel like giants. Skanderbeg's story isn't just swords and castles. It's a masterclass in courage under pressure. He was outnumbered, outgunned, surrounded by empires, and still said, try me. Today we live in a different kind of battlefield. It's fear, self-doubt, and the pressure to fit in. Skanderbeg teaches us to trust our root, to lead even when we feel alone, to fight for something bigger than ourselves, even when it's risky, and maybe most importantly, to never forget where we come from. So yeah, Skanderbeg didn't just make history, he became it. From Ottoman hostage to national hero, he didn't just change Albania, he gave it a soul. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. Hit that like button, subscribe for more epic stories, and remember, you don't need a throne to be a king. Sometimes you just need a sword, a flag, and the guts to fight back.